Good morning, party people. Welcome to an action-packed Wednesday episode of SJU. Today we're going to be talking all things Spider-Man. Yes, that's true. We have a brand new Spider-Man movie title, and we're going to give each Spider-Man movie its objectively correct ranking. Then we're going to dive into some Kevin Feige bits and pieces that he is currently telling us all right now. So we'll see. There might be some even bigger breaking news by the end of the show. I'm with my Spider-Verse of web slingers, Kim, Lon.
Hello.
Good morning, good evening.
Hey.
Nice to see you guys as always.
Can we cut to Feige right now? Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go live to
Let's
Feige.
see the man himself. Oh, no, we can't. We can't. He's not.
Feige new baseball hat confirmed?
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be a huge news story.
What if he just showed up with hair one day and just didn't say anything?
Just like a Phil Spector, like a huge curly afro, just didn't mention it, wouldn't answer questions about it.
Or there was a multiverse Feige. Yeah.
Oh, that's how we find out there's a multiverse of the SJU. We meet
There
Earth
absolutely
2 Feige.
would be a Feige existing with hair, different types of hair, hippie hair, my hair,
Mohawks.
hair.
Yeah.
Let's enter the Feigeverse.
The fact that Feige and Jeff Bezos are still bald is just proof that there is no cure for baldness. Because if there was, they'd have it.
Right. It's like at this point, you feel like Bezos could have just a hair drone permanently flying over your head. Come up with something. You're a billionaire. Please.
But we digress. The important news of the day, aside from drone wigs, is that the stars of Spider-Man 3, they did a little bit of trolling, as young folks are prone to do. They released some first look images of the film itself, and each one released a fake title. So wait, let me focus in on those images. So look at that. We have confirmed that they will be in Spider-Man 3, and Ned, MJ, and Peter Parker, and they will be looking at things. Confirmed.
There will be scenes in this movie set indoors. Gonna be partly set indoors, folks.
They're gonna be on laptops, all collaborating on some type of school project.
Revelations.
I do like that he's got the dog on
This
fire.
Is fine
This
thing.
Is fine sticker
Yeah.
on the back of his laptop.
I wonder if they have to pay that artist for that.
I'm hoping
Hopefully they got compensated. Yeah. Wow, look at that. Look at them looking at something else. Isn't this fascinating, you guys?
Perhaps they're watching us right now.
Yeah.
They're definitely watching SJU or its Marvel non-union equivalent. That's were those the three images we got? There's no more on there, right?
Yeah,
that's
no,
it.
They each had an image and a fake title poster.
Okay, so let's see. Without the help of a staff full of screenwriters, let's see what they came up with their fake title. So I don't know whose one this is, but
that was Jacob
Jake-
Batalon.
That was Ned. Yeah.
Jacob Batalon. So Ned went with Spider-Man Homewrecker. Is that would be about Tony Stark, Pork and Aunt May? I assume would be the plot of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all Jon Favreau. He's the homewrecker in that series.
That's
Please.
right. Yeah.
Don't steal his job.
You're right. It's a good point. This is, I don't know whose this one is, but
This one was Zendaya.
Zendaya. Yes.
And
So
that's the third one released. Yeah.
home slice. I like that. That could be like a throwback, or it could be him working in a deli. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about this one?
I like this of the fake ones. I thought this one was the best because this feels like this is what I've kind of been waiting for. Like he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's just hanging out in the neighborhood, helping bodega crimes instead of always having to deal with existential Tony Stark related issues.
Cam, any opinions on home, or what do you think about Phone Home?
Well, I mean, it would be great. The writing's green too here, so it would be great to have an ET crossover. But there's a contingent of fans that think that these hint at the multiverse and the other Spider-Men coming into the film. So Home Slice references Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Oh, with the pizza. Pizza time.
Boy. Yeah. And Homewrecker Andrew Garfield, in that he indirectly caused the death of two Stacys.
Yes.
And then Phone Home is Tom Holland's Spider-Man because he's always on the phone to Tony Stark or Happy Hogan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some deep lore. I was ready to call BS completely, but actually your explanation kind of brought me around. And Marvel doesn't do anything that's not completely cold and calculated.
Each one relates to one of the Infinity Stones, man. Because phone. No, it doesn't. That would be weird.
Wow. Okay. So, but the actual title is No Way Home. Sounds kind of like a Bon Jovi song title to me, but there you have
Wow.
it. It's Spider-Man No Way Home is Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And did we actually have? Yeah, go ahead.
I saw some people were reading this as, is this Sony's opportunity to like break from, like, there's no way home to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ha ha! Welcome to Morbius. You bastard!
No.
Like there's no way you're not allowed to go back and play with your new friends. You have to stay here and hang out with Madam Web. That's I don't know if that's what they're saying, but I've seen a lot of people sort of theorizing that.
I like these overanalyzations. This is fun. Yeah. Now there was like confirmation and then denial, right, about the other Spider-Men showing up in this one.
We had heard rumors that was happening, but I believe, and Kim, you may know this better, Tom Holland has now said that it's not happening, or he did not know about it.
I'm not confused because, go ahead, Kim.
No, he has said that, but we know that we can't necessarily trust Tom Holland.
Because, they're all liars.
Because he's been loose with his lips in the past and got in trouble for that, spilling too many secrets. So it would make sense that he suddenly goes, none of it's true.
Right. And they totally like compartmentalize the information that they hand out to each actor, I think. Although this movie already filmed, so he would know. But it's like, didn't Jamie Foxx leak it? Like, wasn't he the source for why we thought, well, at least why Electro will be in it? And then he posted a photo of like all four Spider-Men, and he's like, great, here we go. Yeah. Go figure. But you know what? They did their best with the titles, but I think we could maybe one up them, because I know this morning we spent some time brainstorming our home titles. Lon, Kim, what do you guys have?
Well, my first thought was Spider-Man : House Hunters International. Now, a little tweak didn't work home in. I figured house, home, close enough. But we've never had an MCU film dedicated to picking out new wall sconces and wainscoting. And I feel like it's time. It's time.
I love a good wainscoting reference.
Who doesn't love a good wainscoting reference?
Yeah, second only to shiplap. Shiplap's even better. When they find shiplap on House Hunters, they're so excited.
Oh man, yeah. I feel like, you know what? Spider-Man is really going to appreciate how getting rid of that island in the kitchen frees up some space. I think
you got to open it up. You got to open it up.
You got to, room to move around.
Oh, there was a time when it was all about the island, and now things have moved on.
Yeah, if you are right. It's like it's very passé at this point.
Kim, what's your pitch for the Spider-Man home title?
Well, I have two. I mean, firstly, I was thinking it should be Spider-Man Stay Home, because it fits in with, the last year's messaging we've all been receiving with the pandemic and everything. But also, it's a message to the people, the general public within the MCU. Stay home, because otherwise you'll get embroiled in all this multiverse madness, and that's dangerous. So that's what I thought. Also, I liked the idea of them ditching the home altogether, because I know they said that it was going to be in the title, but I would have liked if they could have maybe just wrong-footed us and ditched it, and maybe just called it Spider-Man 3, 3 Spider-Men, because there are 3 Spider-Men in the movie.
That'd be awesome.
3 Spider, 3 Man. I think we're almost there. I think we're on to something.
And you raise a good point, is that like to be a citizen of the Marvel universe would actually be terrifying, especially if you're in like New York or Seoul. Like it's just a constant CGI carnage going on outside your window. I don't care if you're a fan of the Avengers. They probably wrecked your Nana's tenement building.
I also love the idea of the multiverse as an extended pandemic metaphor. Like there's a special mask you got to wear if you don't want to get sucked into the multiverse. But like a bunch of them are like, I won't wear your mask.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Well, I went in a different direction using my very meager multilingual skills. We've had Italian Spider-Man, we've had Japanese Spider-Man, but Spider-Man Araignée Homme which is spelled Homme, which would be French for Spider-Man. I want to see. I think it's time to go to Paris. I want to see the French version of Spider-Man. I want him to smoke cigs through his mask. I want him to really smell. I want him to.
So this is not. It's not Peter Parker goes to Paris. This is Pierre Parker.
No, this is
Parisian Spider-Man.
In the multiverse, he meets Pierre Parker and his many mistresses.
He would be so sophisticated and sure of himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's still got the Spider-Man mask on, but the mask has like a thin mustache.
A thin mustache.
Oh, amazing.
I want him to drive a moped. Yeah.
Of course, he's Belgian. Inspector Hercule Poirot.
We'll do Belgian Spider-Man next. He's got to have his own. It's all crimes happening in old monasteries where they brew beer. That's the whole.
Well, there you go. I think that's what we had. Do we have the graphic of like in the reveal, they had like a whiteboard up where they had all their titles that they didn't end up picking. Maybe we could kind of pick through those, but if not, who cares? They're rejected titles. They're not that important.
There was one pitch, I don't remember, it was like on social media or something from like a month ago, that was Spider-Man Home for the Holidays and make it a Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there hasn't ever been a Spider-Man holiday movie. I feel like it's time. If Shane Black ever comes on board the franchise,
automatically
we'll get Home for the Holidays.
Yeah. All right. Well, are you guys psyched for this?
We're getting the graphic. Hold on. We're almost there.
Getting that graphic. Almost there.
This Malcolm and Marie sequel looks terrible.
There's a lot of titles on there that a lot of people on social media suggested.
Okay. Yeah, well, I hope they get paid too. And I saw that people were overanalyzing the fact that there's like a hex, in the top left corner. So anything with 6 sides is now a sure sign that we're going to the multiverse or something.
All right, yeah. Homesick. I had No Place Like Home. Home Alone.
Webcamming. That seems fun.
Home Sweet Home.
Yeah.
Home Run. I would like a Sandlot style, just baseball Spider-Man movie.
There
you go. All right. Well, there you go. I'm pretty psyched for this movie because all of the past ones have been pretty good, and I'm sure this one will be pretty good as well.
I'll tell you, the Jamie Foxx news, I was like, really? But then the Alfred Molina news, I was like, okay, let's see what you've got. Like they kind of won me over. At first I was not sold, but sure. I'm curious.
Well, to look into the future, let's see where we've been in the past. And I just want to kind of test this thing out. This is a thing called Tier Maker, where we can sort all of the films of the past, not just Spider-Man, but anything. But today we're going to do Spider-Man into its proper rank and tier. So if you'll give me full control of the screen. Yes. Okay. It's working. Great. We could maybe collaboratively, I could ask the audience, but Ryan, pipe up if they have strong opinions one way or another. But I think that we could sort all of the Spider-Man movies pretty quickly into their proper ranking. And the rankings are number 1, Japanese Spider-Man for the best Japanese Spider-Man and equivalent. And then A, B, C, and D. Sound simple enough?
I think I get it.
Yeah. So I think that we should start with Japanese Spider-Man. I'm not sure. Where do you guys think this belongs on our scale? I'm just going to drop it here for now while we discuss.
It's on a separate scale in a world of its own. But for our purposes, I think, yes, the top tier is where it belongs.
It is the top tier. I think that this is the Spider-Man property I think about the most often. It's the one I revisit the most often. It's the one that brings me the most joy.
This is the film with the anthropomorphic mecha swordfish, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, Leopardon, yeah.
Well, Leopardon is his mech that he gets into.
Right, yeah.
Well, first he gets into the GT9, I believe, GT7 Spider, and then he flies into the mech, and then Leopardon, and then the arm rockets. The
only question you really need to ask is, of all of these Spider-Men, which one gets their powers from Spider Planet?
Planet Spider, yes.
Planet Spider. only Japanese Spider.
Now the question, I'll put the first tough question to you guys. Do any of the Spider-Man films deserve to be ranked as highly as Japanese Spider-Man?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. And
I can think of 2, but what are yours, Kim?
Which?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've only got 1, but yes, I think there's 1.
Oh, well, I've got two,
Okay.
but they're kind of one, and that would be Infinity War and Endgame.
Now I'm going to hard disagree with you there, but go ahead. What do you think? Why is that?
Well, because, and I'm going to be serious here for a moment, like these two films are the culmination of the epic Infinity Saga. Nothing like this has ever been attempted in cinema before. They're not only great, a great way to round out a series of films. They're great films in themselves. They've got the tone just right. They've got great characters and world building that they've built up over a number of films. But you know, the humor's right, the action's right, the pathos is right, the drama. Yeah, so I think that they deserve standing in the top tier alongside Japanese Spider-Man for entirely different reasons.
Well, I agree with everything you said, except for that they are great films on a standalone basis, that they're great films in and of themselves. I think, yes, it is the culmination. They're the series finale of the MCU so far. But I think going in cold, and obviously this isn't how you go into these movies, but they don't stand on their own. They have to give this roster of like 30 or 40 characters their due, and each one gets their moment. And it's only through appreciating the films that came before that you can appreciate the stakes and the character beats of these two films, which is why I put it in the A category, which is still very high. But I don't think I have two films that I think reached the same level of perfection, standalone perfection, as Japanese Spider-Man. Lon, break this tie.
Oh, wow, I'm a lot tougher than both of you. I put both Infinity War and Endgame in A. I agree with basically everything Spencer was saying. I think they work great as the finale of everything leading up to them. I think as individual movies, I like them both very much, but I think they individually have a lot of problems as individual movies that would keep them out of the S tier, most elite tier. And in fact, the only Spider-Man movie that I would say is in the tier with Japanese Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
There you go. I think that's a no-brainer for me.
Chad agrees. Chad agrees with Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's look, I throw the phrase perfect film around kind of often, but I think that this is a perfect film in and of it set out to do something and did it perfectly. It just had such a consistent tone and it created such a world of its own that there's not a single frame about it that I would change. And I think that is only true of that and Japanese Spider-Man. And
All right.
I will say, I think Spider-Man 2 belongs in the S tier. I think that Spider-Man 2 is one of the best Spider-Man films ever made. And I don't think you need to have seen the first one to appreciate it on that level. What say ye?
I mean, I prefer. I would put Spider-Man 1 above Spider-Man 2 because of how groundbreaking it was. And without Spider-Man 1, you wouldn't get they wouldn't feel bold enough to make that Spider-Man 2. And without Spider-Man 1, you don't get superhero cinema as it is today. Plus, it was the first film to reach $100 million in a weekend, I believe. So,
well, sure, but you know, the Taco Bell's the most popular Mexican restaurant in America. It doesn't mean it's good.
What you say?
Delicious.
It's good. It's good in its own way. You're right.
I believe in this case, another interesting, I will split the difference. I would say both Spider-Man 1 and 2 would also go for me on the A tier here. I agree with everything Kim was saying. You don't get to unless you had one. And I think now it's really easy to look back and be cynical about that first Spider-Man movie. It's a little cheesier than maybe we would have made it today. I sort of always thought that the chemistry between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, it takes a little while to kind of warm up to me. But yeah, I feel like the massively influential movie, really important for the history of comic movies, and holds up really well. And Willem Dafoe knocks it out of the park.
You know what? I'm on board. You're right. They aren't perfection in that respect, but I do really
the tier for
really
perfection.
love them.
This is the very good tier.
Still very, very good. I mean, the Doc Ock surgery sequence alone is not just the best Spider-Man sequence to me, but maybe the best thing Raimi's ever done. I think it's just incredible. So now we get into some some tough
Can
stuff.
Spencer, before we move on, can I clarify? So some people in the chat were wondering, yeah, we have Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame in there in the list. We just wanted more movies, also. We just kind of wanted like a robust amount. And I would say that there's plenty of Spider-Man in Civil War and Infinity War.
Endgame is a little bit of an edge
Endgame,
case
I would
because
say,
he pops up at the end, but
he's a major player. But I think Infinity War is like, he's huge in that movie. He's a main character, obviously, of that one in Civil War. And we did not include Venom because he's like it's a Spider-Man movie, but he's not in it. So we're only movies.
Not appear,
yeah, we don't have high enough tiers for Venom. And you know what? If you don't want to see Infinity War or Endgame Spider-Man in this list, just ignore it. That's free. Just pretend they're not there. You happy? Great.
Because nothing's knocking anything off. It's not like it ruins the ranking. Like they're they're on the tier. So
that's the beauty of it.
Pretend they're not there.
Now, I don't know if this is. It's tough because are we now ranking these relative to the other Spider-Man, or are we ranking these?
No,
relative to other films in general, like this is a C film or this is a C Spider-Man film.
To me, where we're going? Tiers are not weighted, so it's just you could put as many or as few movies on each of these levels as you like. Yeah. I mean, I think one per tier that wouldn't make sense, but yeah, I think if you think all of these are crap, save them for the D's.
Well, the no-brainer D for me is is the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think that's one of my least favorite comic book films.
Agreed. I would put that at the.
Is that this one? It's now the font's so small on my screen.
Yeah, it's that one.
It's also the lowest grossing live action Spider-Man film to date.
I'll just never forgive it for wasting Paul Giamatti's brilliant turn as Rhino.
Is it not on here, Ryan? God damn it.
That's it. Amazing Spider-Man 2. You're looking at it.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is there. It's right there.
It's literally the one you have.
Oh, that's the one in mind. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sorry.
I counted. There's 12.
Squinting at a laptop. Great.
This is the film that Electro is in, though, and we will be seeing him again.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Great. what a treat. This to me also, this is one of like the cardinal sins to me of comic book filmmaking, which is when you're in like a super rush to get to the big famous iconic moment, but you haven't earned your way there, so it doesn't play. Like I think the Dark Phoenix saga is the quintessential example of this, where they like always want to do one X-Men movie and then do Dark Phoenix, and it's like, no, that storyline is a culmination. And I think the Gwen Stacy stuff in Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's like, we only just got to know them as a couple. It's too soon for this like epic doomed romance angle to me.
Yeah. I hear you. And then also the cardinal sin of trying to launch this shared universe before you've earned it with the Hall of Sinister Six spinoffs that they go through.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, but I do think that
dead end, post-credit scene.
If you were ever to give somebody, their own Joker style movie or a Venom style spinoff, Paul Giamatti's Rhino is near the top of the list for me. I really want to see where he got that accent.
Oh my God, everything about it is perfect.
So that would be an A tier moment in a D tier movie. All right, well, I'm glad we agree on that. Now this gets kind of tough, a little bit muddled for me. I mean, Civil War. Or I don't know. I'll just open it up. Is there anything else that you guys think belongs in that D tier? Because I think people are probably going to be pushing for Spider-Man 3 to be there, but I think that's maybe a C because there's still enjoyable parts of it for me.
Yeah, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 stands alone as the all-time worst. I think there's a bunch of them that I'm gonna put on like the next tier up.
Yeah, so I'm dropping Spider-Man 3 on C. Yeah. I think it's a little overstuffed, obviously. It's a little embarrassing at times, obviously, but there's still a lot of the charm from Spider-Man 1 and 2, just inherent in Raimi's style and Tobey Maguire's performance that's still in there.
And I think Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman is a great character. Yeah. I like his arc.
And that scene where he like first forms out of sand is still like the visual effects on that sequence are still very impressive to this day.
Emo Toby's all over the internet too. So, it lasted a long time.
Yeah, it's got some staying power.
That one's almost like not as bad as its reputation would indicate. So yeah, I don't think it's like among the worst. It's just it's got some problems.
Yeah.
The Venom stuff doesn't really play in there.
Yeah. So where do the rest of these go? Any strong feelings? Because I could put all of these somewhere in B or C, and we could just say that and call it a day. But do you guys feel strongly?
I'll tell you my thoughts. I think all of these go on the B tier, except Amazing Spider-Man 1. I'm also putting on C tier with Spider-Man 3. That's my take on this.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you, Kim. How do you feel about these last four?
I'd like another tier between B and C for the standalone Tom Holland Spider-Man films. I'd put Captain America, then those two, and then what was the other? Yeah, what was the other one we had?
It's the first Garfield, Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yes. Yeah, and then that one in C.
And that's honestly, it's a shame because I don't think I would just say Andrew Garfield's doing a good job. Like if you put Andrew Garfield in either of these two other Spider-Man franchises, I feel like we'd all be like, Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. Like he just gets saddled by being in these two really off movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I just assume that this B tier is in order of preference, I think, so his Amazing Spider-Man is bringing up the rear. And there you go. I think we kind of nailed it. I think that's the actual objectively correct ranking of all the Spider-Man films.
I mean, I would say knock that Garfield one down to a C, but otherwise, sure.
It's a B minus C plus.
Yeah, that's right.
That was my grade in school.
A 78 counts as a B in this grading scale. It's like
there you go.
Only like when it's like 78 to 82 is a B minus or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we got a pretty neat parabola. Like if this was our middle school graduating class, we did a good job.
Bravo to us.
Yeah.
I'm sure the chat disagrees, but I'm not looking at them right now. So what you don't hear can't hurt you. Thank you guys for watching to this point. Please hit subscribe if you haven't, hit like, and hit that bell so you don't miss a damn thing, including the Fandom 5 trivia contest this Friday on Fandom Games. Bailey Myers, our debut host, will be tackling Nintendo, all the Nintendo questions your heart desires. So again, sign up for that. You can win real money for knowing stuff about, I don't know, Pikmin. And
just Battletoads.
No,
that is why they didn't let me work on this one, because it would have just been 100 Battletoads questions. They were like, "Wow, what are you doing?"
Yeah. So there you go. Sign up for that. Win some cash and spend it on amiibos. I don't know. I don't have a Switch, but I grew up liking Nintendo, so maybe I'll sign up too. Actually, I can't. So moving on to segment 2, we got some bits and pieces around the internet. And I don't know if Feige is still talking. Maybe he just announced that, I don't know, Luke Skywalker is going to be in Captain America. Who knows? We'll see by the time I finish reading this. So
young smooth-faced Luke Skywalker or old cynical Luke Skywalker?
Smooth Luke.
Okay.
Smooth-faced
Okay,
Luke.
Smooth Luke. Okay, good.
So
Smooth-hand Luke.
Yeah, there's going to be a Blue Beetle movie. It's actually coming together. Charm City Kings director. This is via the Wrap. Charm City Kings director Angel Manuel Soto is set to direct a Blue Beetle movie. DC and Warner Bros. First Latino superhero movie focusing on Jamie Reyes.
Yeah.
So, Lon, you sound excited. What's the hype about?
I've been saying for a long time that I was really looking forward to when DC finally got the Justice League, the main guys out of its system, and we started to get some of their B, C tier heroes in movies. Like that was, to me, part of the secret of Marvel's success was they weren't basing their universe just around Spider-Man and the X-Men. They had to grow and find Thor gets a movie and Captain America gets a movie and all these kind of other characters. And now we're finally getting that. And Blue Beetle was one of those examples I would use of a great DC character that's never really had their moment in a movie. And we can finally start exploring sort of the corners of the DC universe. So this gets me really excited, both because I just like Jamie Reyes and this version of the character, but also because maybe we're finally going to get to see creatively driven projects about just corners of the DC universe we haven't explored at all yet.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Kim, do you feel any type of way about this?
Yeah, I mean, there is a small amount of questioning as to whether I have superhero movie fatigue, but I totally agree with Lon about bringing through these B and C tier characters and how exciting that is, because often they're more complex, maybe more relatable. and bringing them to audiences that may have no idea of who they are and what they do is great. And a lot of these characters also date back a long way, although this version of the character is from 2006. The Blue Beetle dates back to 1939, and I love the idea of just bringing that to a modern audience.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, just like we've discovered with Marvel over the last, decade plus, like there is so much to this universe beyond just Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Like I love Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman, but there are Agatha Harknesses in DC as well. And like, oh man, okay, finally we can start to like bring up some of these characters instead of just focusing on, Harley Quinn over and over again.
Yeah, it's odd because
she is.
The comic book popularity, or even like the cultural penetration of Marvel characters, doesn't have any bearing on how successful the movie's going to be. Like Iron Man was
the Guardians of the Galaxy were until James Gunn made a movie about it.
And there weren't many like card carrying Iron Man or Thor fans when it started for Marvel. It was all Spider-Man and X-Men, and look what happened. So
and the DC stable is, I don't want to get into a fight about like equivalent, but like it's packed. Like it's a roster that goes really deep that you could draw from for these kinds of movies.
Yeah, totally. All right, so now we've given Feige enough time to finish speaking and dumping all of his hot, steaming news onto our chests. Let's see what he said. Eric Goldman was sitting in on a call live, and here's some tidbits. Some MCU Disney Plus shows will get 2 seasons, but he did not say which. Well, breaking news.
Well, Loki is sort of already out there in the world. That like I feel like we've all heard Loki's coming back for a potential season 2.
Okay,
I do remember something like that, but don't quote us on it, fans.
So I think Feige was saying like it depends on the show and where the story is. Like obviously, WandaVision would be tricky to sort of figure out how to do again.
They'll find a way to get him back in there.
Loki Agatha all along, you do it as a spinoff. That's my
Loki will premiere June 11th, so we have a date for that. So yeah, these are coming out all back to back: WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and then Loki. You will not be starved for content this summer.
They've got that. I forget what they're calling it, but they've got a show. Oh, Assembled. They've got a show that's like the behind the scenes of how we made this MCU show. So that's the plan, is it'll be the show, and then you'll get a week off when they premiere the here's how we made it, and then the next show. So we'll get WandaVision, it'll end. The week after is Assembled, how they made WandaVision, and then the week after that, Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then it'll be like the same after that.
All right, good times. He also gave reassurance that they, quote, won't mess with Deadpool 3's R-rated tone and style, and are open to discussion on more adult-oriented content. That's interesting, and nice to hear. I guess like that's kind of a no duh for Deadpool, because doing a PG-13 Deadpool would be suicide for that character. But
sorry, I think it opens the door for R-rated Wolverine as well. I think, after the success of Logan, I don't think they can rewind, what the kind of stuff he got up to in that movie. So I would imagine that those are plans they have for him.
Totally.
Also, they now have all of their Netflix characters back, which were the more street level, violent, kind of like Daredevil and Punisher, and so they may be sort of leaving the door open for adapting some of that stuff as well.
They could Netflix-ish that. And speaking of adult characters, he said they'll be starting She-Hulk in a few weeks, followed by Moon Knight. So those are legitimately happening and are going to be filming, and both sound really exciting. And the fact that he's open to a more mature tone, I think bodes well for those 2 shows.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to see those 2 out of the, right off the bat getting second seasons, I think, because they're new characters to the MCU.
Great.
She-Hulk is going to be like a legal show, so that's perfectly designed to like go on and on. Like there's always new cases, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't mean to. I was not laughing at you, Kim, which was you made a very salient point. But I was looking ahead to the live chat, which I do just want to jump ahead and get a few questions in before we bow out. And Jamie Garcia asked me, I'm going to keep asking about the email vampire until he gives us closure. And yes, I was asked many moons ago to join a coven of vampires while reporting on a story. And I will, they started asking me for a lot of my personal information if I wanted to be inducted, and I didn't end up sending them. Or did I send them? I think I sent them like some defunct old Defy Media address and never heard back from them. Maybe because they went there looking for me. So I'll go through my old emails and try to give you guys a follow up on.
Now, would this be you would be drinking blood, or is this just like a cosplay? Like it's like role.
No, they were offering in no uncertain terms that they could turn me into a vampire. It was a comment
like an undead supernatural vampire.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will, JB, I will dig back through my email and see if they ever got back to me. And you were like,
I'm not gonna look into this. Like
well,
an offer to actually become immortal, and you were like, I'm busy this month.
Well, I did. I wrote back to them, but I think maybe I'll check my spam filter, see if because I never heard back after that.
You don't give the vampires a fake email. What do you do?
So, and then of course, as is tradition, we love to get these. We have some food questions.
The only ones we get. There's like only food questions.
We also we've already talked about movies, so now there's the only other important subject.
We're all like locked in our home for a year. Let us have this. Let us have something.
So mad at the food questions, but it's not, Billy's not here, so let's answer.
Well, you can tune out if you don't want to hear us talk about John Baybridge asking, do you like spicy food? Do you have a favorite hot sauce? Yes, and I would say Tapatio, I think is probably my favorite.
Mine as well. Love Tapatio. I think it's because when I was at UCLA living in like the dorms, that was on every table. It was just like the standard condiment, and dorm food is gross. So you got used to putting Tapatio on everything. And now I just like want it on like eggs and pizza and like all those basic kind of foods I used to eat there. So yeah, definitely. I like spicy food, although I'm kind of a baby about it. But like if I go to the Thai restaurant, I have to be like, listen, just keep it reasonable. I'm a white man.
Yeah. Kim, how about you?
I don't know that sauce that you mentioned. I'm also a baby with spicy food. I'm not a huge fan. I like a mild spice, as long as it's got something to temper the spice. So something dairy or, like I like a sweet chili sauce. Does that count as a hot sauce? Because of the sweetness.
It's got a little, it's got a kick.
Just a little kick.
That's about as hot as I'll go.
There you go.
It's just a hot pepper sauce from Mexico. It's like it's very similar to like Cholula and all the other kind of Mexican hot sauce.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about this. And 1/4 Canadian asks, favorite chicken wing sauce, and how many do you think you can eat in one sitting? I mean, I think we all have to go on hot ones and find out, right?
That's been a frequent question that actually has been asked before is, would you do hot ones, and how do you think you would like fare?
I would do pretty well.
I would love to do it. That's like a dream because I love that show. I would love to be on it, but I would, oh my God, I would be terrible. I would be crying. It would be a real
I would
mess
probably get pretty far. I would reach for the milk at some point. I have in the past gone to a place where like they serve you the chicken that's so hot, like they give you rubber gloves with it so that like you don't get it on your hands, because if you touch your face later, it'll light on fire. And like it's the kind of thing where I get like 3 or 4 bites down, and then I'm like, yeah, this is too hot. I'm not going to eat this. I don't want any more of this chicken. So I feel like I can make it into the like later wings without completely losing my composure. But who knows? I've never actually counted the Scovilles of what.
Yeah, I'm eating. I don't know how high I could go, but probably not that high is my wager on it.
Yeah.
And I definitely would not do the extra dab on the final. That's crazy.
No, I could not go high on the Scoville scale. But if we're talking volume, I'm a vegetarian, by the way. But theoretically, if I were to eat chicken wings, I very much feel like I could eat a very high volume.
There you go. Yeah.
They got vegan wings.
Yeah, they do
cauliflower.
Cauliflower or something. Yeah.
Delicious. And yeah, as far as favorite chicken wing sauce, I mean, I like just regular buffalo sauce. It's delicious. Final question before I go eat lunch. Rob Turner asked the hard-hitting one of the day. What soup do you think Superman would drink?
Eat soup. You don't drink soup. You drink broth.
Yeah, I mean, he would sip it, I guess, and maybe something hot that he would have to cool down with his ice breath that is canonically a Superman power. So yeah, maybe, what's that, Kim?
I feel like he would take tips from Popeye and have a spinach soup.
Oh, very good.
Maintaining that strength.
Soup, isn't he from Kansas?
He's from Kansas. I just like he's a classic, like iconic American hero. So I feel like it's got to be one of our great native like American soups, like a New England clam chowder or something.
I mean, that's even giving him too much flavor. I think he's Kansas. It's like a creamed corn. Like it's probably some pretty gross
cream of corn.
Okay. Waspy, flavorless food.
All right. You all make good points. It'd be like a tomato soup and like a half a grilled cheese sandwich.
A watery tomato soup.
Yeah.
He's a boring person, but a good man. And that's why we love him, not for his exotic food choices. All right. I think that rounds out the news of the day. We hope y'all had fun. And again, go to that Fandom 5 trivia contest on Friday, and we will see y'all soon. Thanks, Lon. Thanks, Kim. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.